If you take my advice, you destroy it immediately and forget all about it. The Heart of Fire is your work, isn't it? You see, Mr. Krauser, these things mostly happen unintentionally.
Well, I know that's why.
That's why it is worth remembering that it is much more disheartening to have to steal than to be stolen from.
Red Shoes is a film that's written and directed by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger that came out in 1948. So The Red Shoes is a $50 patron request that comes from no other than Perry Perez. And I kind of had a feeling that he would request this film soon because he's given this film nothing but praise. He considers this film to be a masterpiece. Along with legendary filmmakers like Martin Scorsese, who also considers it to be not only his personal favorite film, but just one of the best films ever made. So with just that taken into consideration, how could I not be excited for this film? And after finally watching The Red Shoes, this film is spectacular. This is a fantastic piece of filmmaking that I completely understand why people love so much, because I also love very much. It's a film that's incredibly delicate and refined and vibrant, and it's aged like fine wine. And when I say vibrant, I really do mean that from start to finish, the colors and the production design and the art direction is just eye-poppingly stunning. And this film was shot in Technicolor, and I don't know that much about Technicolor, I'm not an expert in it, but what I have learned from it is that it basically takes 3 different strips of film to shoot in Technicolor, which means that in order to restore it, it takes 3 times the work. And by the way, that's something that I've learned from the Martin Scorsese video on YouTube, where he dives into all the details about not only the process of what it took to restore it, but just all of the time, effort, and love that was put into restoring such a big project like The Red Shoes. And I just feel so grateful that there's people out there that are willing to take all the time, money, and effort and put all their passion into restoring a gigantic project like this, even though it's an incredibly tedious and difficult thing to do. And they're not really doing it for the money either, because it's not like once they restore this film and put it out on shelves, people are just going to be storming the gates to buy the Red Shoes restoration. Except for maybe me when Criterion releases the new 4K edition of this. But other than that, this isn't something that obviously people are just doing for the big bucks. So the restoration of this film looks absolutely gorgeous. I've seen before and after stills, and it's quite incredible how stunning this film looks. And one thing I also love about this film is that it, especially for the first 2 acts, it's an incredibly whimsical film that feels like a fairy tale. And usually that's something that I'm not really huge on. For some reason, I tend to lean into more darker themed films. But there's just something so breathtaking in regards to how this film goes about it, despite it being incredibly fantastical. And I think it just has a lot to do with how the film's written and how the characters are embodied and even the casting. Because Maura Shearer plays the main character in this film, the ballet dancer that basically rises to stardom. And not only is she just gorgeous in this film, but she's an incredible dancer as well. You can definitely tell that they hired somebody who is a legitimate and professionally trained ballet dancer. She absolutely kills it in this film. She's incredibly elegant with every move. And I think she does embody this kind of wholesome character that you really want nothing but success for her. And the actual Red Shoes ballet sequence that's presented in this film is by far the most gorgeous ballet sequence I've seen in any film. Because what makes it so special and beautiful is that it's presented in a way that could only be perceived through the art of filmmaking. And a lot of it has to do with how it's edited together. There's objects that dissolve and fade away and get teleported to other locations. The speed of different sequences are tampered with to create a certain effect. Camera angles are utilized in different ways that, again, you could only perceive all of this through how it's presented to you through film and through the post-production process. It's simply impossible to be able to perceive this particular ballet in a traditional ballet setting. And I think there's something incredibly special and beautiful about that because it combines two beautiful art forms and presents something that is only possible through the existence of both of these art forms. And even though I mentioned that the first two acts of this film are indeed whimsical and feel like something out of a fairy tale, the third act is when this film kind of comes down to earth. That presents a more realistic picture and message for the audience. And I obviously really love that about this film as well, because the conflict and downfall of the characters in this film are only made possible through the flaw of humanity. Specifically men in this film, to be honest. Because the ballet dancer in this film is essentially innocent in pretty much every way that you look at it. She's just somebody who has nothing but love and passion to share and everything. And whether it's for another human being or for the art of ballet. And it isn't until jealousy and an entitled sense of ownership comes into play to where everything just starts to crumble. And I believe that the play, The Red Shoes, that's presented in this film, and also the color of the red shoes, is used as a symbolic piece of foreshadowing to what would happen to her character. Because there's actually not a prevalent use of the color red in this film except for the shoes. So not only is that just an interesting artistic choice, but it now has a more significant and powerful meaning to not only the overall themes and symbolism of the film, but also towards the main character. But one other thing about this film that I really loved was the writing. Because not only do I feel like the characters are really well fleshed out and the conflicts that are established are very well realized, but just the dialogue itself, there are so many different sequences and scenes in this film where the dialogue exchanges between characters are so eloquent.
Why do you want to dance?
Why do you want to live?
I don't know exactly why, but I must.
That's my answer, too.
And they express profound truths about art and humanity as well. So the writing and the screenplay itself, I think, is incredible. The color and the production design, the art direction is out of this world fantastic. The Red Shoes is incredibly impressive on essentially every aspect of filmmaking. So I'm going to give The Red Shoes a solid 9 out of 10. Perhaps on rewatch, I could give this film a perfect score. But I think just the one thing that's holding me back from that is that I wish there was just a bit more personality behind the camera. But even that I feel like is a little bit nitpicky, but it is something that I did notice while I was watching it. And I'm just trying to be as honest as I possibly can. But as I said, that could change on rewatch. I'm very excited to rewatch this film. This is a film that I feel like I could pop in at any moment of the day, every day. So I'm really excited for that 4K release coming out. I don't know when it's coming out. If somebody knows, let me know in the comment section, even though I'm more than likely going to wait until July, regardless, when the half off sale is going on. But either way, that's all I got to say about The Red Shoes. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about the film, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.